Hello, I'm the masked amp. I've got a mask and I'm an amp. So, this video will focus on preparing for the interview for an AMP course. AMP courses are almost invariably only open to employees of local authorities or mental health trusts. Even before having an interview, a candidate has to fulfil certain requirements. As an example, the local authority who approved me stipulates that, as well as having at least 2 years post-qualification experience, your line manager has to be prepared to allow you to undertake the training, with the commitment of time that involves. All courses require a period of full-time training, which will take you away from your day job for several months. There is an expectation that you should have a sound knowledge of Care Act legislation, as well as safeguarding and mental capacity issues. Although it is not essential for a prospective AMP trainee to have experience of working in a mental health setting, there is an expectation that they would shadow experienced AMP colleagues while undertaking formal assessments under the Mental Health Act prior to the interview. The putative AMP then needs to make a formal application and has to provide a written record of their continuing professional development over the last 2 years, especially linked to mental health, with a reflective commentary as well as providing a reflective analysis of their experience of shadowing a Mental Health Act assessment. Social workers from any field are eligible to train as AMPs. Clearly, working in a mental health team is relevant, but social workers working with older people and people with learning disabilities will also be in a position of working with people with mental disorder. Although few children's services social workers train as AMPs or are allowed to train by their line managers, these social workers are always welcome, as the Code of Practice advises that AMPs with experience of working with children and families are ideally required when undertaking Mental Health Act assessments of young people under the age of 18. Having overcome these initial hurdles, the prospective AMP has to have a formal interview. I have to confess that I've never had to undertake one of these interviews myself. This is because when I started practice back in 1981 as a mental welfare officer under the Mental Health Act 1959, the requirements for acting as an MWO were somewhat less stringent. I asked members of the Masked AMP Facebook group what they would recommend to do in order to prepare for the interview. Here are a few of these hints and tips. Looking at the guiding principles in the Code of Practice. Have some knowledge of current research into mental health and the AMP role. You will have extensive awareness already of the importance of narrative practice, partnership working and contingency planning. Just expand on these and look at what it means to interview a service user in a suitable manner, whereby you will aim to reduce a service user's anxieties to help inform the assessment and facilitate communication. Demonstrate that you are aware of the importance of the role and its importance for adherence to the Human Rights Act. Show that you have a basic awareness of the role and that your values are compatible with the role. Stress the importance of informal admission as an example of striving for the least restrictive option. They won't expect you to have a detailed knowledge of the law or indeed the Code of Practice, but it is good to have a basic understanding and awareness of the role. If your basic belief is that you would never section anybody, then you are probably not suited to managing the conflicts inherent in the role. You must be aware of and ready for the time and effort, commitments involved in the training, as well as the course that will cost your employers several £1000s per candidate. Give examples of anti-oppressive practice in your current role. Be aware of and willing to work in situations of risk. Demonstrate your commitment to learning. Try and just be yourself, as that demonstrates what you can bring to the role. Above all, don't be put off by the often challenging requirements of the role. The training will provide you with skills that can be used in any area of human interaction, and practicing as an AMP should be seen as a unique opportunity and privilege. If you have been, thank you for watching. If you found any of my videos entertaining or informative, please like and subscribe.